do not disassemble or modify. In this video I'm going to take apart the classic Army Scarab. It is brand new from them at the time of this recording, so things may change, but the more they change, the more they stay the same, I guess. So let's start at the front here with this flash hider, which is 14mm counterclockwise, pre-loosened. They're usually super glued on in the United States because the orange tip that we have to have, but pre-loosened. So 14mm negative, counter, whatever. Let's take the mag out. There is no battery in this, but I guess we might as well take that off anyway, just to show where it goes. I have another video that shows how to put the battery in, how to set the trigger modes, how to do the quick change spring. So I guess I can link to that. And there we go. And we'll take the stock off. The stock needs to be extended so it clears the fire selector. Well, let's zoom in. Get a little closer. There we go. Maybe. Yeah, that's better. Alright. So pull this up and out. And that out. And pull down on the stock. And it's off. Alright. So this guy here, this is the charging handle. You can put it one of 4 spots here, there, and there. So that's what's up with that. You can just put it wherever your preference is. So what we need to do is to take off it's a VFC style, actually, or classic Army style. Yeah, column A, column B. But bolt catch right there. So we're going to need a punch and a hammer. Just gentle tapping. And there it goes. Alright. So that's off there. So we can now pop this guy out. Oops. Hey, it's a little bouncy. And let's flip this over and we'll take off this mag release, which I think is a 1.5. Yep, 1.5 Allen right there for the mag release. Let's take them off now, as it might as well while I'm here. General area. This was their ambi mag release there, so. Alright, so now that that's out of the way, the bolt catch, fake mock bolt catch, we can slide the tops off, the upper receiver from the lower receiver. See, there's a little, probably 2mm, 2.5 maybe. Allen bolt right here in the top back. Take that off. And now we need to put that back down. We need to pop this pin out. I think it's a captive pin, I'm pretty sure it is, so I'm just going to support the gun with a screwdriver handle and tap it out. There it goes. See, it popped right off. This so reminds me of the Robinson XDR, the VFC one. Alright, and there we go. Look at that. So there is the lower, here's our upper, inner barrel, and hop-up unit. You can see it's loud, and it's brass barrel. It's supposed to be a 603 tight bore. And the clicky style hop-up unit. That is not probably a 300mm. I don't really have a tape measure around here. I don't, so that'll have to be a mystery, or you'll just look on the specs on whatever gun site you're buying it from. So pretty standard there. Push this back in. I should grab a paper towel or something. Before they start getting too messy. Alright. Classic Armies previously had a blowback system that was pretty terrible, and APS copied it, and it was even worse. So they've gotten rid of that completely. They still use the gearboxes, but I think they just beefed it up a little bit. They actually radius the corners in the front now, so they shouldn't crack, because they don't have that. The blowback gun just pounded the front off these freaking things when they had that. So we have that off. Now let's take off this Tango Down style grip, which is Phillips. It's going to take forever. These are machine screws, so that means there's should be, yep, brass ferrules in there, which is nice. So they stick in there. But with the machine style screws, they don't rip up the plastic and strip out, because you get those nice brass ferrules in there. So, motors in what we would call backwards in the trade, where normally the positive is towards the front with the longer wire, and the negative's towards the back with the shorter wire. This one is the opposite. So let's just grab some pliers and pull that off. And pliers somewhere. Those are nippers. Those are nippers as well. And I got some pliers here. And there we go. Classic Army, high performance, 3100. So I'm assuming that is the RPM. Actually, looks different than the other ones. Yeah, it's not super magnetic, like a really high-end Neo motor, but it is fairly strong. So it is fairly decent. I notice it has a high rate of fire. It's a 1,500 rounds a second on a LiPo, 11.1 LiPo, so no slouch in the rate of fire department. Alright, we got the two screws in there. So this one is smaller. Yeah, because Phillips is probably a monster. Yeah, it is. So I'll take this off. Unscrew. And come on. Two screws. Yeah, so reverse from what it. No, that's the correct position. It's just different. All right. So we have a cross pin. And let's tap and see if we're lucky. You don't want to tap it the wrong way out, where it has the. Yeah, that would be the wrong way, because you damage your lower. You want to pop it out with the area where the knurling is on the side you're popping it out. You don't want to put the knurling all the way through, because that would make the holes bigger on both sides, and then it wouldn't stay and wouldn't have good location. All right, now just this back pin. And oh yeah, these have the ambidextrous fire selectors, which is slightly smaller than that. Maybe this 2mm guy here. Come out of there. Gently pull up. So, and this guy here. Go. Pull that out. Still getting stuck on something. What am I getting stuck on? There it goes. success. So, okay, so there's grooves in there for that. So I guess when you put it back together, that's an interesting mechanism. Yeah. Interesting. Look at that. That's their new style selector plate for this, I guess. It's kind of cool. It's got a little, what's that, eccentric sort of cam lobe in there. So it moves that. Neat. That goes through, that's just like standard sort of Scar, you know, style stuff right there. Okay, goes to the other side. Does it locate with that hole? No. Well, that's going to make putting it back together fun. Or actually, do you just leave these empty? Yeah, you probably just leave that in there. Might not have even needed to take that out. But hey, we're there. So let's look at this guy. So is this cast? Yeah. It's a nice sort of... When I first saw these, I thought that was nylon fiber, but I'm pretty sure, now that I see it up close, that it is zinc or aluminum or whatever you call it. Yeah. Yep, so it's actually metal. That's cool. Because the finish they put on it feels sort of like a nylon, but it's really, really rugged finish on there. Cool. Alright. So, down to the gearbox. I guess we'll zoom in a little further. There we go. So, it doesn't look too standard. Let's pull the anti-reverse latch. Yep, you can see our first sign of electronics. That two there. That's a little transistor, looks like. No, what is that? We'll see when we get in there. It's just flapping the breeze, no spring under that. And spring guide, we'll take that out. So, it's pretty shallow, the spot for the 6mm Allen key for the spring guide. So 90 degrees, comes right out. It's a ball bearing. It's a ball bearing spring guide. And this is, I think it's an M120. It shoots 409 out of the box with this short of a barrel, and it looks like a non-port. Well, no, it is ported. 3/4 ported cylinder. It's probably an M120. Alright. That is just neat. That, so safety works. I'm assuming there's a micro switch or something sticking out somewhere so it knows when it's in full auto. But we'll cross that road when we get there. Alright, so we have Allen screws holding the body together. Alright, so it looks like we got all the screws out of the way. I'll take my handy little hard drive magnet right here and stick it under the inner reverse latch and double gear so none of that stuff flies out. Oh yeah, I gotta get that off there. Got to take that off. So just kind of secure it on. with a little flathead type thing, or yep, there we go. Just pressed on. There we go. All right, well, let's see what's inside. And that's probably supposed to be right there. This is the classic Army ETU, I guess. So we'll get down to that. I'll take this out first. We have our tappet plate and cylinder. It's like an O-ring nozzle there. Nice and flexible tappet plate. Aluminum head, full metal rack. Like almost no compression there. Maybe I was holding it wrong. Alright, well, I guess that's good then. There's that. Thin walls, it might be a bore up. I'm guessing that's a bore up. I think Classic Army's doing that now as a thing, like all their guns are bore up cylinders. People are using heavier BBs, so that helps with more air or whatever, more volume. Alright. So, got clear silicone grease, 9mm, yeah, 9mm bearings. And let's see what we got here. This guy, no longer need that guy. It's bevel gear. Looks pretty standard. This guy looks like it's heat treated. The inner reverse latch. Oh, that's a Hall effect sensor. That's what that is. So let's get that spring out of there. That spring acts on that side of the gearbox. There, the trigger. So yeah, Hall effect sensor, so we can tell where this little, I'm assuming, magnet is. Yep. So as it goes past there, you can detect the cycles. Ares does this as well on their Amoebas and the new G36s they have for Elite Force. So let's take a look at this guy. CA 2016 01 A-5 3v3 ground. Oh, so that must be for programming. So 3-volt ground. Yeah. Alright, do I take that off from this side or the other side? Looks like this side. That's really for on the other side of the gearbox. You can see they cut a hole to clear those pins. One more. Come on out. You can do it. All right. And there we are. Oh, it's going to even get a little buzzer and everything. Little plastic frame. It's like Darwin or aluminum. This pretty much to isolate it. Little capacitor on there, microchip. The buzzer, Hall effect sensor. A lot of surface mount. It's pretty neat. And there's their new trigger and a micro switch. Very low travel on that too. So you could probably mod it with a little grub screw in there, a little Allen grub screw to take up the slack, so you can make it even like a shorter pole. Cool. And we'll take the trigger out. As you can see, it's got the new design for the new safety there. And we'll take this gear out. This one's actually labeled Classic Army, unlike the bevel. It's got the little magnet in it, so if you replace the gears, you're going to need to replace the magnet. This looks like a standard 18-to-1. Yeah, it looks it. I know they've been putting 22-to-1s and stuff, more torque, but this seems to, I don't think it would be slower at 22-to-1. And here is the spur gear, not labeled. They say these are wire cut. They are pretty heavy. They are steel. Just what wire cutting entails, I'll have to look up. But they advertise them as wire cut gears. They do feel, it does feel heavier, and it's noticeably thicker than normal. It's almost like one of those Siege Tech gears, but not heat treated. Ample grease. They've learned a lot of lessons. They must have opened a lot of gearboxes of competitors. So you got this little tab right here. Aries was first to do that, to keep that from getting mangled in the motor. Little channel at the back if you were going to rear wire it. On the front, this is that silver coated wire. And let's take this out. Being Ginger as I don't own this gun, just borrowing it, because they were sold out so quick. There we go. Oh, and there's another sensor right there too, and that's how it knows when you're in safe, semi, or full, I'm guessing. Little magnet in there. Tiny little magnet. Neat. So that's all the way back. So yeah, that would be full auto. And all the way forward would be safe. Yep, so it's covered up. You can see the block in there. There was the trigger. There it is. So unsafe. Blocks the trigger. I actually like that better than the arm. Arm can get finicky. Anyways, I'm a little off camera. And then moving it off, this would be full. Semi would be about here. I think it would be shrouded. Yeah. That is neat. So you get your sensor there. And you have 3 MOSFETs, it looks like, to shunt the power from the battery to the motor. Pretty neat, pretty cool. Yeah, similar to the Aries system, but there's the other half. Oh, and there's a cop. Very compact. Very cool. Kind of weird they designed it from the ground up, but still kept that blowback feature. Maybe they're going to use that overseas. I doubt they'll ever try that again here in the United States. It just didn't. It made them so unreliable. It just, I don't know. The last sort of Classic Army expensive guns got a bad name because of it. Like they would just break the front of the gearbox. But this not having that metal arm and And fake bolts slamming against the front's probably going to be fine. This looks, actually that's pretty thick. Yeah, that's pretty thick, that's not going to break. And the metal looks good too. Like the structure, it doesn't look like it's, looks like it's more homogeneous. Where you can tell with the cheap sort of pot metal, it looks like a mosaic and sort of weird patterns in the castings. This is like a fresh, sharp casting. Let's check the shimmings. The shimming before we sign off here. Yeah, looks nice. Alright, so let's put this gear in there. That one there. That one right there. Okay, we'll put 2 screws in there just to tighten it down. That's really good silicone grease in there. Fighting the Loctite they put on this. So quality built. I think the gun retails for just over $300. So a lot of stuff there for the money. I guess a lot of development time went into the electronics as well. All right. There's no play on the sector gear. Of course, it's not going to spin on and on and on because there's grease on it. I hate it when people go, "Oh, look at these bearings, are so smooth," and they spin forever, but they have no grease in the bearings. If you'd ever run it that way. All right, so that one, no play. Bevel. The slightest amount I can feel there. And the spur, I'm going to have to poke at from the back side here. Nope, nothing. So, shimmed very well as well. So, should live a nice, long life. Classic Army Scarab, really nice. Good quality gun for the money. I'll see you next time. This is Jeff from Master Hobbies. You can find us at 565 Main Street in Cherry Valley, Massachusetts, or on Facebook at facebook.com/masterhobbies.